People who view masturbation while in a relationship as cheating. Why? My ex told me it was because she didn't want my passion gone for sex. And that if I masturbated it showed that I loved myself more than her, and that it was in a sense cheating on her with my hand. I mean, we didn't live together, so I did the dishonorable thing and lied. Because I didn't want it to end over it, and I also didn't see her enough to satisfy my young adult level sex drive. I wonder if you had asked every single time for sex when you felt the urge, what would have happened? If she could drive and had a car, I wouldn't doubt that she would. Pretty possessive, thirsty woman. Problem was that if I ended up working a 14-hour shift, I wouldn't want to drive 45 minutes to her house, and she refused to bus. It was part of the reason she found masturbation to be cheating, because in her mind, too tired meant I jacked off and didn't want her body. Not that my body was physically at its limit after 14 hours of heavy trades. And that the sex would have been short-lived and anticlimactic anyways. My wife said it makes her feel inferior and that she's not good enough for me. But she only wants so have sex maybe once a month. I've never considered it cheating, but I did have issues with it a few years ago with an ex. It was about a year after I had my daughter, so my body was changing, not for the better, due to breastfeeding and hormone changes. I was ridiculously self-conscious. I'd try different things to get him to want to sleep with me, but they never worked. I even suggested masturbating together or giving him a BJ while he watched porn. I just wanted some intimacy back. Instead, he'd ignore me and do things purposely to keep me out of the bed at night, make a loud noise to wake our daughter up, so I'd end up having to sleep in her room with her. Before this, I didn't care about him watching porn and getting off. After, I became almost obsessed with catching him. Not my proudest moments. I eventually began returning his lack of interest and would deny him instead. Bought a vibrator and realized I didn't need his approval to feel okay about myself. I regret letting myself get that low though. A few years back I dated a woman who was a compulsive masturbator. Every God-given moment she had, she would. This extends so far as while I was at work, while I was in the shower, while I was in bed next to her. You get the idea. It got to a point where she was masturbating so frequently that our sex life suffered as a result. She would never initiate things. And any attempts I made were shut down due to her having already taken care of herself and therefore was not in the mood. Due to this, I eventually came to just have a negative association with masturbation in a relationship. It felt to me like if my partner wanted an orgasm and I was willing to provide, they should come to me before going at it solo. I wouldn't say it compares to cheating for me, but more so something that detracts from the relationship for me, which makes me understand how someone could see it as a form of cheating. I don't view it as cheating. However, it would seriously hurt my feelings to the point of we would need marriage counseling. The reason is that we are in a clinically defined sexless marriage, less than 10 times per year. I am almost always willing. But my husband is uninterested. No, he's not having an affair. Yes, it's most likely low testosterone. So if I were to find out he regularly masturbated, with or without porn, I would be seriously hurt. I've dated a girl that was super upset when she found out I masturbated. Even though at that point she wanted to wait for marriage. The answer: religion. I was raised religious. But I want to understand the mindset and thought process, because that was never something that bothered me personally. Especially because I left the church at 16. I'm the porn-addicted masturbator, and I feel it's cheating because sometimes when she wants to have sex I don't want to, because I had already jerked off several times that day. In the purest sense of cheating, I deprive her of fulfillment because I fulfilled my needs elsewhere. I'm working on it. The problem isn't masturbation itself but the porn that he was addicted to. Basically, he didn't even want me. He would rather masturbate than ever have any intimacy with me. As a female, there's a stigma that if everything but the sex is good, people will see you as shitty because you left them just based on sex. But it's more than that. It's just a feeling of being unwanted. So to me, I wouldn't have cared as much if he didn't use the porn or lie to me about it. Masturbating itself is not bad if you're not cranking 3 out a day. Female with much higher sex drive than my BF. Like much higher. He wants sex maybe once a week. And can pretty easily go longer. I start getting antsy for sex after about 36 hours. If he were to masturbate, I don't think it would feel like he was cheating. But I would feel pretty hurt. Sex and touch are really meaningful to me. And his drive limits what I can get. If he were to limit that more, cut it in half, that would be a relationship problem. Not cheating, but it would genuinely hurt me and we would have to have a long talk about it. On the other hand, he doesn't mind me taking care of myself. Which I do pretty frequently. But me taking care of myself doesn't limit him or cost him anything. It just keeps me slightly less insane. Alright, since no one else seems to have first-hand experience. I was with someone for 2 years that held that view. His rationale was that everything sexual that I feel should come from him. If I do it myself, even without thinking about someone else or looking at porn, that's selfish at best in his eyes, but more akin to a total betrayal. Of course it's just a facet of controlling behavior that morphs into, OMG, you briefly glanced in the general direction of but not at a man even though he was at the opposite crosswalk. You can't even stop checking out other guys when I'm right fucking next to you. Just don't. If someone has any inclination towards this line of thinking, know it is only related to religious dogma and abuse. I think masturbation can cross the line from fine to problematic, still not really cheating, when a person consistently chooses to do that over having sex relations with your so. Specifically, often, not just once in a while, declining sex or rejecting your otherwise willing partner because you prefer masturbating. I had a GF who knew I would rub it out. We never really talked about it. She admitted she did too. I guess we didn't think too much cause when we were together we fucked like animals. I guess it depends on who you're with. After her I had a GF who hated that I watched porn. It didn't affect our sex life. She was a jealous person. One of my old friends legitimately views watching porn and masturbating, both or either, as cheating. When I asked her, she said it made her feel not good enough for her boyfriend, but she also refused to actually do anything sexual other than making out with her boyfriend because she wanted to wait until marriage. So like, my BF and I hadn't had sex in a while even though I made every damn day a move. Found out he was fucking himself half an hour before I got to him. It's not cheating, but it fucking hurts for a girl with a high libido. Yeah, if your sex life suffers for it. It's perfectly understandable. I've masturbated before going to bed only to find my wife still awake and ready to jump my bones not even half an hour later. It wasn't easy, but I got it done, lol. Most people don't think through their opinions. They just repeat what they were taught as children and when questioned can't defend their opinions without resorting to phrases like, "That's just what I believe," or, "That's what it says in the Bible." If someone genuinely believes that masturbation is cheating and has a justification for their view, fair enough, but most answers to this question will just be parroting their parents' claims. I don't view it as cheating. However, I know I'm mentally damaged because my current boyfriend has a porn masturbation addiction and it has been an ongoing issue throughout our 2 years together. He would regularly choose not to have sex with me and masturbate to women who look nothing like me. He's in therapy now, but the damage done to my self-esteem is irreversible. I look in the mirror and question why he would be with me when I doubt he's even attracted to me. I've been coping pretty well recently, but 2 days ago during a drinking game the topic of porn came up. My BF was asked his favorite porn star. He answered and now she's all I see when I'm with him. I look nothing like her and I can only imagine he's incredibly disappointed when he sees me. My ex said it was because I should always come to her with my sexual needs. And if she wasn't in the mood, then I just had to be patient and not masturbate. Oof. This was actually a huge issue in my last relationship. What bothered me the most was that my ex-boyfriend described porn as a part of who he is and wanted to masturbate to porn while in a relationship. Even while I was home. It hurt me because it made me feel like I wasn't attractive enough and I wasn't enough for him. I am not a prude. I love sex. I have a high sex drive and I like exploring. but it didn't understand why I wasn't enough for him and why he needed to masturbate to porn. We ended up going to couples counseling and a lot of issues came up. But I'll spare all the details. Anyways, that's why it bothered me. I never viewed it as cheating, but I always felt I wasn't pleasing him enough if he had to masturbate. I was raised by a man who told us that men shouldn't masturbate in a marriage out of respect for the woman. I learned to accept it, but it still made me feel inadequate. I can almost guarantee you that the man who raised you talked to the talk but didn't walk the walk. It sounds to me like something a man in a marriage with a woman with unreasonable views of masturbation would say. I believe that those who view it as cheating see porn as a type of infidelity. As in, you are fantasizing about someone else. So with masturbation, who knows what is on your mind while in the act? So how can I know you are not being unfaithful? I was raised religious, and that is one perspective I have heard before. Glad to be out of any such organization these days. I'm on the fence with it. I for some reason always feel a bit guilty after masturbating. My GF is great. And perfect. But we're opposites when it comes to sex drive. I have a highly active one. She has an underactive one. There's times where I go to the bathroom, squeeze one out. I do that maybe once every day or two. And it's a horrible habit. Why I feel guilty is I don't like thinking of other girls getting off to them when I have my GF. Then I realize after that it's only a short time to relieve stress. I guess I just don't like the emotional disconnect with my partner I have after watching porn. I feel like I'm ashamed of the fact that I masturbate in another room to her. Feels like I'm betraying her expectations that I set on myself. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. See you next time.